Have you ever wondered why your deepest pain often precedes your greatest purpose? Why does it seem that just when you think you're standing tall, life crumbles beneath you, leaving you in pieces? What if those moments of heartbreak, isolation, and loss aren't accidents but divine appointments? In this video, we'll uncover 8 transformative reasons why God allows His chosen to be broken before they're blessed, crushed before they're crowned, and emptied before they're elevated. This isn't about destruction, it's about destiny. Stay with us, because the truth you're about to discover might reveal that your darkest season is God's hidden workshop for your greatest breakthrough. Let's dive in. Reason 1. Trials ignite a hunger for true purpose. When God selects a man for His divine mission, He often begins by dismantling the structures that define his life relationships, routines, and securities that anchor him to a lesser calling.
Genesis chapter 12 verses 1 and 2 states, "Now the Lord had said unto Abram, Get thee out of thy country, and from thy kindred, and from thy father's house, unto a land that I will show thee, and I will make of thee a great nation." God's call to Abram was a radical disruption, demanding he leave his homeland, his family, and his identity behind. This wasn't a mere suggestion, it was a divine summons to abandon the familiar for a promise unseen. The breaking of Abram's ties to Haran was the spark that ignited his journey, transforming a wanderer into the father of nations, a man whose legacy would shape history. Trials are God's method of jolting us from complacency, peeling away the layers that obscure our true purpose.
Picture a man who loses his career after decades of success, his identity tied to his title, or a woman betrayed by friends she thought were family, left alone in a new city, or a family forced to leave their roots, starting over where no one knows their name. These moments feel like chaos, like the world is unraveling, but what if they're God's orchestration, His way of shaking the nest to teach you to fly? Comfort can become a cage, locking you into a life that's safe but small. The things we cling to, status, relationships, achievements, can blind us to the eternal calling God has prepared. When life upends your plans, it's not to destroy you, but to awaken you to what matters: faith, obedience, and a purpose that transcends temporary pleasures. This awakening demands courage. Abraham's departure wasn't just physical, it was a spiritual leap, leaving behind the idols of his culture and the security of his past. Your trials, whether financial ruin, relational betrayal, or unexpected upheaval, are God's invitation to let go of what's holding you back. They force you to confront the hard questions. What am I living for? What defines my worth? Where am I placing my trust? If you're in a season where everything familiar has been stripped away, take heart. God is not punishing you, He's positioning you. He's igniting a hunger for a purpose that aligns with His eternal plan, a calling that outlasts the fleeting comforts of this world. He's stirring your soul to seek a legacy that echoes into eternity, setting the foundation for a journey from loss to divine destiny. As we continue, let's explore how God uses trials to free us from what binds us. Reason 2. Trials cut away what drains the soul. God's refining process is precise, like a surgeon removing what threatens to choke your spiritual vitality. John chapter 15 verse 2 confirms, "Every branch in me that beareth fruit, He purgeth it, that it may bring forth more fruit." Pruning is not a gentle trim, it's a deliberate cut, severing branches that sap life from the vine. In the same way, God allows trials to remove relationships, habits, or ambitions that seem essential but are draining your soul. That job that gave you status but stole your peace. That friendship that lifted your spirits but led you astray. That dream you chased but rooted in pride. These are the branches God targets, not to harm you but to heal you, to ensure your life bears fruit that lasts. Imagine a vineyard keeper pruning healthy branches, not because they're diseased, but because they're misdirecting the vine's energy. So it is with us. A relationship that feels affirming may be eroding your self-worth, pulling you from God's path. A career that offers security may be robbing your intimacy with Him, consuming your time and focus. An opportunity that seems divine may be laced with compromise, threatening to derail your calling. When God allows these to fall away through betrayal, closed doors, or unexpected loss, it feels like rejection, like the ground beneath you has given way, but it's rescue. Think of Jonah, fleeing God's call only to be swallowed by a fish. That fish wasn't a prison, it was protection, a divine intervention to realign his path and save him from his own rebellion. Reflect on your own life. What has God removed that you mourned? Perhaps a relationship ended abruptly, leaving you raw and questioning your value, or a career path collapsed, forcing you to rebuild from scratch. Maybe a dream you poured your heart into dissolved, leaving you disoriented. These moments are painful, but they're purposeful. God is cutting away what's draining you to make room for what will sustain you. He's severing ties to the temporary to anchor you in the eternal. When you lose what's not meant for you, you gain what's destined for you. These trials are God's mercy in disguise, His way of protecting your purpose from what could destroy it. Thank Him for the closed doors, the no answers, the redirections, for they are His love at work, preparing you for a life that bears abundant, lasting fruit. This pruning paves the way for a deeper connection with God, as we'll see next. Reason 3 trials. Tune the heart to God's whisper. In a world that bombards us with noise, ambition, expectations, distractions, God's voice is often a whisper, heard only in the stillness of a broken heart. Exodus chapter 3 verses 1 to 4 mentions, "Now Moses kept the flock of Jethro his father-in-law, priest of Midian, and he led the flock to the backside of the desert, and came to the mountain of God, even to Horeb. And the angel of the Lord appeared unto him in a flame of fire out of the midst of a bush, and he looked, and, behold, the bush burned with fire, and the bush was not consumed. And Moses said, I will now turn aside, and see this great sight, why the bush is not burnt.
And when the Lord saw that he turned aside to see, God called unto him out of the midst of the bush." Moses didn't hear God in the grandeur of Pharaoh's palace,
Surrounded by power and privilege, it was in the desert, after 40 years of obscurity as a shepherd, that God's voice broke through. The wilderness stripped him of pride, silenced his ambition, and prepared his heart to receive divine direction. Trials create a sacred stillness, a space where the clamor of self-ego, plans, desires fades away, when friends drift, when opportunities vanish, when prayers seem to echo unanswered. You're left in a quiet that feels isolating but is holy. This is God's classroom, where He teaches you to hear His whisper. Picture a radio dial cluttered with static. Trials tune the frequency, clearing the interference so you can receive His signal. In that solitude, you learn to discern His voice from the world's, His call from your own aspirations.
If you're in a season where the phone doesn't ring, where the crowd thins, where the future feels uncertain, don't run from it. Lean in. God is speaking. Not in the thunder of success, but in the gentle whisper of surrender, inviting you into intimacy with Him. This clarity is transformative. Moses, once a prince of Egypt, became a humble shepherd before he became Israel's deliverer. The desert humbled him, teaching him to listen, to depend, to obey. Your trials, loneliness, rejection, or unanswered prayers are doing the same, refining your heart to hear God's direction with precision. They teach you to value His presence over applause, His truth over approval, His timing over your own. In this season, you're not abandoned. You're being prepared to carry His word with clarity and conviction. As you embrace this process, you'll find that God's whisper carries more power than the world's shouts, equipping you for a purpose that requires divine sensitivity.
This leads us to how trials dismantle the illusion of self-reliance. Reason 4 trials shatter the myth of self-reliance. Pride can masquerade as confidence, but God seeks hearts that rest solely in His grace. 2 Corinthians chapter 12 verse 9 affirms, "And He said unto me, My grace is sufficient for thee, for my strength is made perfect in weakness. Paul, a man of unmatched zeal, vision, and revelation, needed a thorn in his flesh to learn that true power flows through dependence, not self-sufficiency. Trials are God's tool to expose our limits, revealing that we are not the source of our strength, but the vessel for His power. They strip away the illusion that we can do it alone, teaching us to lean on Him completely. Imagine a man whose career collapses, his reputation tarnished, his health failing. In that moment, the props of self-reliant skills, networks, achievements crumble, and he's left face to face with his need for God. This is not cruelty, it's liberation.
Like a clay jar holding precious oil, your potential is often locked within a shell of independence. God breaks that shell to release what's inside, revealing His sufficiency in your weakness. You don't know Him as provider until your resources fail. You don't know Him as healer until medicine falls short. You don't know Him as comforter until human support vanishes. In these moments, God's grace becomes not a supplement but a replacement for your strength, transforming your perspective and preparing you for His purpose. Your trials are a divine classroom where you learn that God is enough. Paul's thorn didn't diminish his ministry, it defined it, teaching him to rely on God's power alone. Similarly, your setbacks, financial struggles, broken dreams, personal failures are stripping away the myth that you can succeed without Him. They're teaching you to surrender, to trust, to rest in His limitless strength.
If you're in a season of weakness, rejoice. God is revealing His sufficiency, showing you that His grace is more than enough. This dependence lays the groundwork for a calling that endures, one that can withstand any storm because it's rooted in Him. This leads us to how trials forge an unshakable identity. Reason 5. Trials forge an unbreakable calling. God's trials are the womb of destiny, where true identity is born through struggle. Genesis chapter 32 verses 24 to 28 recounts, "And Jacob was left alone, and there wrestled a man with him until the breaking of the day. And when he saw that he prevailed not against him, he touched the hollow of his thigh, and the hollow of Jacob's thigh was out of joint, as he wrestled with him. And he said, Let me go, for the day breaketh. And he said, I will not let thee go, except thou bless me. And he said unto him, What is thy name? And he said, Jacob. And he said, Thy name shall be called no more Jacob, but Israel, for as a prince hast thou power with God and with men, and hast prevailed." Jacob entered the struggle as a deceiver, a man defined by cunning and flight. But in the wrestling, God broke him physically with a dislocated hip, spiritually with a new name, transforming him into Israel, a prince with divine authority. His limp was not a mark of defeat, but a testament to a divine encounter. Trials strip away the masks we wear: titles, achievements, reputations revealing who God created us to be. Jacob's life was marked by running from Esau's wrath, from his own deceit, from the truth of his actions. But in that night of wrestling, he could no longer flee. The struggle forced him to confront his identity, his fears, his need for God's blessing. Your trials do the same, pressing you to ask the hard questions. Who am I when the spotlight fades? What defines me when the props are gone? What am I living for when everything I trusted crumbles? These questions, born in pain, lead to answers forged in divine encounter. The loss of a job, the end of a relationship, the collapse of a dream. These are not endings but beginnings, where God reshapes you for His purpose. This process is not gentle, it's transformative. Like a caterpillar dissolving in a cocoon, you must let go of the old to become the new. The struggle leaves scars, but those scars are proof of God's touch, evidence that you've wrestled with the divine and emerged changed. If you're grappling with loss, identity, or purpose, hold fast. God is not breaking you to destroy you, but to name you, to call forth the person He designed. Your trial is the birthplace of a calling that hell cannot shake, a purpose rooted in divine truth rather than human approval. This forging equips you for both strength and compassion. as we'll explore next. Reason 6 Trials. Craft warriors with tender hearts. God's chosen are refined in the crucible of affliction, where strength and empathy are forged into a holy balance. Psalm chapter 119 verse 71 declares, "It is good for me that I have been afflicted, that I might learn thy statutes." David, anointed as Israel's king, spent years as a fugitive, hunted by Saul, hiding in caves, his heart broken by betrayal and fear. Yet, those tears didn't weaken him. They shaped him into a shepherd king who could wield a sword against enemies and write psalms that comfort the weary. Trials are God's training ground, teaching you to war against darkness while softening your heart to feel the pain of the broken. Affliction is not punishment, it's preparation. Picture a soldier training for battle. The drills are grueling, the discipline relentless, but they build resilience and skill. So it is with God's process. Your struggles, rejection, loss, failure teach you to fight despair while cultivating compassion. You can't minister to pain you've never felt, lift burdens you've never carried, or heal wounds you've never touched. David's cave became his classroom, where he learned to encourage himself in God and to extend mercy to others, even those who sought his life. Your trials are doing the same, equipping you to stand firm in battle and kneel in compassion, to confront darkness with courage and comfort the hurting with empathy. If you're in a season of hardship, don't rush through it. Let it mold you. The fire that burns you also refines you, shaping a heart that can both conquer and console. God allows you to walk through flames so you can guide others out of theirs. Your pain is not wasted. It's the raw material for a ministry that reaches the overlooked, lifts the fallen, and heals the broken. Your struggles are teaching you to see the wounded, to hear the silent cries, to touch the untouchable. This preparation sets the stage for a focused calling, as we'll see next. Reason 7. Trials. Sift the fleeting from the eternal. God uses trials to separate what's temporary from what's eternal, ensuring His glory shines through your life. Judges chapter 7 verses 2-7 explains, "And the Lord said unto Gideon, The people that are with thee are too many for me to give the Midianites into their hands, lest Israel vaunt themselves against me, saying, Mine own hand hath saved me. Now therefore go to, proclaim in the ears of the people, saying, Whosoever is fearful and afraid, let him return and depart early from Mount Gilead. And there returned of the people 22,000, and there remained 10,000. And the Lord said unto Gideon, The people are yet too many. Bring them down unto the water, and I will try them for thee there. And it shall be, that of whom I say unto thee, This shall go with thee, the same shall go with thee, and of whomsoever I say unto thee, This shall not go with thee, the same shall not go. So he brought down the people unto the water, and the Lord said unto Gideon, Every one that lappeth of the water with his tongue, as a dog lappeth, him shalt thou set by himself. Likewise every one that boweth down upon his knees to drink. And the number of them that lapped, putting their hand to their mouth, were 300 men, but all the rest of the people bowed down upon their knees to drink water. And the Lord said unto Gideon, By the 300 men that lapped will I save you, and deliver the Midianites into thine hand, and let all the other people go every man unto his place. God reduced Gideon's army from 32,000 to 300, not to weaken him, but to strip away pride and ensure the victory pointed to divine power alone. When your circle shrinks, your platform fades, or your influence wanes, it's easy to feel like you've failed, but God is sifting, removing what's superficial to reveal what's sacred. The applause of the crowd, the security of numbers, the comfort of recognition. These can dilute your calling, tempting you to lean on human strength rather than God's power. God allows these to fall away, not to diminish you but to purify you. Like gold refined in fire, your trials burn off the dross ego, popularity, self-reliance, leaving a calling that carries eternal weight. If friends walk away, if opportunities dry up, if the spotlight dims, trust that God is sanctifying your stage. He's clearing away distractions, refining your focus, preparing you for a purpose that glorifies Him alone. This sifting sets the foundation for abundance, as we'll explore in our final reason. Reason 8, trials. Prepare for divine multiplication. God's breaking is never the end. It's the prelude to His abundant multiplication, a divine process that transforms pain into provision. Matthew chapter 14 verse 19 paints the picture perfectly. And He commanded the multitude to sit down on the grass, and took the 5 loaves and the 2 fishes, and looking up to heaven, He blessed and brake, and gave the loaves to His disciples. Jesus didn't distribute whole loaves to feed the thousands. He broke them, and in that breaking, a miracle unfolded, nourishing a multitude with leftovers to spare. The pattern is unmistakable: blessing, breaking, then giving. God breaks what He plans to multiply, ensuring that His power flows through surrendered vessels, not those clinging to self-sufficiency. Your trials are the seedbed for divine impact, where pain becomes the raw material for a legacy that touches lives beyond your own. Consider a seed planted in dark, unyielding soil. It doesn't sprout until it splits open, its shell cracking under pressure to release the life within. So it is with you: the pain of a shattered dream, the grief of a lost relationship, the sting of betrayal. These are not losses, but the groundwork for abundance. God allows you to be crushed so His glory can be poured out through you. Think of the alabaster jar in Scripture, its precious oil locked within until it was broken, releasing a fragrance that filled the room. Or consider the grain that must be buried and broken to yield a harvest that feeds generations. Your struggles, whether a marriage that fell apart, a business that collapsed, or a betrayal you never saw coming, are God's preparation, turning your pain into provision for others. They're the excavation of a legacy that will outlast your lifetime. If you're in a season where everything feels scattered, fragmented, or undone, lift your eyes.
You're not abandoned. You're in the hands of a master who breaks only what He plans to bless. Your heartbreak is not punishment, it's preparation. Your loss is not rejection, it's release. You're not being diminished, you're being distributed. Every tear, every wound, every moment of isolation is being woven into a tapestry of divine purpose. The marriage that ended may have broken your heart, but it's teaching you to comfort others in their grief. The business that failed may have shattered your plans, but it's equipping you to guide others through their setbacks. The betrayal you endured may have left scars, but those scars will become a testimony that leads others to healing. God is preparing to multiply through you, using your brokenness to feed the hungry, heal the broken, and reach the lost. This process requires surrender. Jesus didn't cling to the loaves. He blessed them, broke them, and gave them away. So must you release your pain, your plans, your pride, trusting that God will multiply what you surrender. Your trials are not the end, but the beginning of a miracle, where your broken pieces become the means to nourish a multitude. If you're walking through a season of scattering, hold fast. God is crafting something eternal through your temporary pain, a ministry that will shine His glory to the world. Your breaking is the prelude to His abundance, ensuring that your life becomes a conduit for His power, touching lives far beyond what you can imagine. As we conclude, let's embrace the divine purpose behind our trials. God's breaking is His making a sacred process that transforms pain into purpose, trials into triumphs, and wilderness seasons into wellsprings of impact. Every loss, every wound, every moment of isolation is part of His plan to awaken, refine, and equip you for a calling that echoes into eternity. Your struggles are not random. They're divine appointments, shaping you into a vessel for His glory. If this message has stirred your soul, declare in faith, "Lord, I embrace your breaking for your blessing." Share this with someone walking through their own trial. Like, subscribe, and spread this truth. Your season of struggle is not your end. It's God's beginning for a destiny that will shine His light to the world. God bless you all.